Well, hey there, sports fans.
Howdy.
What's happening?
Oh, just on the edge of my seat.
Yeah,
Excited.
you should be.
What's the name of the show?
Really have no idea.
Fantastic. Love it.
Uh,
We
yeah.
really call it that.
Wow. Hey, how about that draft? How did that feel?
Is there a draft in here? Yeah. I Well, as a Seahawks fan, I got to tell you, two things occurred to me. The 49ers really bolstered their defense.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
it's kind of scary how many guys they got on put on the line and what a
they weren't
safety
messing around. Yeah.
and a corner, and I think, is that right?
Yeah.
And I think out of all their draft picks, I think they took an offensive tackle, a receiver, and a running back.
Yeah, and a running back.
So they
Yeah.
dedicated the rest of the draft to defense. So I thought,
Defense.
wow,
Yeah.
plus, they're going to get Brock's contract done, and they redid Kittle's, and their offense is. They had a bad season last year because people were hurt and people held out, and they let Debo go, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So they got all that sorted. I think their offense is going to go back to being good. And McCaffrey says he's healthy this season. No more of the tendon problems. So
Yeah.
uh, we'll see. I mean, that's scary. So, and the other half of it was I was really excited with the way the Seahawks drafted, getting
Yeah.
that guy that looks like Sergeant Slaughter,
Yeah.
that offensive tackle. That guy,
Yeah.
and he looks very jacked to be an offensive guy too. Steve Hutchinson is his someone he looks up to, and gotta like that. And Jalen Milrow, that might be exciting if they do like if they treat him
Yeah.
like my favorite player for the Saints. Why am I drawing a blank? Taysom Hill.
Yeah. That
Imagine
kid
him coming in with
out
some
of
Taysom Hill
Alabama.
packages. They say he's already probably the best athlete on the team. Not the best quarterback, but best athlete on the team. So that's fun.
Yeah.
We'll see. But I think the delicious part that we were all and everybody's still talking about is
Who?
the big slide of Shador Sanders.
Oh, I thought it was Jacksonville, how well they drafted.
Oh yeah?
No, never mind.
Okay. Well, we can talk about that. I'm all ears.
I heard about this Sanders kid. I did. I heard about it from everybody
Oh,
else. Yeah,
actually, the person I heard about it from was mostly Sanders.
yeah,
you
yeah. I don't know if you know.
know,
Yeah,
remember that old phrase? If you got to tell everybody you're cool, you're not cool.
you're not cool. Yeah,
Yeah.
no
And
doubt.
I just got thinking, I remember years ago thinking this kid's going to have a handicap, and the handicap is his dad.
Is his dad? Yeah,
Because his dad was so good, and his dad for his whole life has been the coolest guy in the room wherever he went. Right? I mean, Dion, just wherever he goes, he's cool. He's the guy. He's smooth, right? And that's something to live up to. And when Dion hit the league, I mean, the hype followed him, right? It's not like they had to hype him up. He he was worth it. Kind
yeah,
of, and there's a few other guys like that, like Bo Jackson.
yeah. There you go.
He was just so good, and he didn't have to talk about how good he was.
Yeah,
But
he's gonna
he
tell you.
was so. John
Yeah,
Elway was so good. Players. There were just certain players that they. But with Shador, it was like they had to go around and keep telling us how great he was. And I thought, well, at some point, are you trying to convince me, or are you trying to convince you? And what's coming up now is everybody saying, when he met with the teams, when he'd go to the team facility, he treated it like he was being recruited, like for college, rather than interviewing for the job,
yeah,
which is what he should have been doing.
yep.
So I think that turned off a lot of teams. Like,
Yeah, there's a lot of reports or a lot of info coming out now about his poor interviewing skills. Yeah. Anyways, hopefully he'll make enough money that he won't have to go out and look for a job after this. He could go on the Aaron Rodgers podcast show.
yeah, well,
Talk
there's
about
that.
how about how shitty his career was. Um,
There's,
yeah,
I think you sent me a link. It was Dr. Umar Johnson
yeah,
saying that they should sue the NFL for $40 million.
yeah. There
Okay,
you go.
first I want to say this. I looked up Dr. Umar Johnson, and he really is a doctor.
He is.
He
He's
is a clinical psychologist.
Yeah.
and he specializes in special education, right? He's I think he's more known for public speaking now, but special education issues,
Hmm.
identifying misdiagnosed learning disabilities and ADHD students. Hey, that's heroes work.
Yeah.
Okay, so first off, I don't want anybody thinking I'm bad mouthing Dr. Umar Johnson, but he had a quote in there where he's saying, I stand in solidarity with Sanders' family over this because this is wrong. Now, he's entitled to his opinion, right? But then he continues, and whether it's Shannon Sharp or Carmelo Anthony or Shadur Sanders, an attack on any black man is an attack on every black man. And I went, an attack on any Irishman is not an attack on every Irishman, because I can guarantee you there's a few Irishmen out there who are dicks.
Yeah.
So you go
Yeah.
ahead and you go ahead and say something bad about an Irishman because he's probably got it coming to him. But that doesn't mean you're attacking all of us. So I thought,
There you
wait
go.
a minute, time out, Reverend Alan Sharpton. Just settle down a little bit here. You're entitled to your opinion, but who are you going to sue?
Yeah.
Who do you think colluded? I don't think any of the NFL owners could actually get together and collude on anything. They're too competitive.
Yeah.
They're
They're
not going
not.
to share info like that. And they're going to go, oh, yeah, well, I'll show you. I just don't. That's silly.
I don't think so. It's, yeah, I don't think so. I,
But hey, Dr. Umar, keep up the good work. Just this one thing I'm going to disagree with you on. Uh, uh, isn't actually no fractor Muhammad Ali or Colin Kaepernick. Yeah,
yeah.
come on. Shador just fell in the draft. I mean, if
You-
anything, he's going to be able to market this and make
yeah.
more money off of
There
it.
were a dozen quarterbacks, right? 14 quarterbacks got drafted.
Actually, let's see. One, two, three, four, five, eight of them.
Yeah. I thought
Cam
there were
Ward, Jackson
four,
Dart, Tyler Show, Jalen
well,
Milrow, Dylan
whatever.
Gabriel,
8
Shedeur
quarterbacks.
Sanders, Kyle McCord, and Will Howard.
Big deal. Hey, you didn't make the top 10 like you projected. You didn't make the top 20. We get that. There's some popcorn. Oh, neat. What top 50? Okay, we're still going, right? Whatever, man. The kid, listening to some of the or reading some of those articles and comments being made by teams and commentators. Yeah, my opinion, I just like they all have their opinions. Great.
Yeah,
Great. Go for it. I get it. I would just say that with the kid, I mean, he's talented. He's an athlete. He's talented, comes from good breed. His dad's amazing. He's learning from one of the best, right? He's learning from one of the greatest. I mean, I'll give him that, right?
no doubt about it.
But he's not an NFL level quarterback.
Not
I'm,
yet.
I just don't see it. I do not see him being a multi-level or multifaceted quarterback. He is a one-dimensional quarterback. NFL or college did great. Throwing screen passes out of the pocket did great with an offensive line that was, 350 pounds average weight and just throwing it like this. Just take 2 steps and throw it over there. Great. Did you see him scramble? Did you see him pull back in the pocket? And and
A
then
little
no,
bit, not much.
not
Yeah,
much. And without that, I just don't see him making an impact. I could see him
medium.
up to it. I could see him
Yeah,
getting under some veterans and learning, and 3, 5 years being a starter. Maybe not that long, but this
yeah.
year, ah,
Well,
just don't.
that was the scouting report, right? Was that Cam Ward of the quarterbacks available to draft, he was the most NFL ready,
Yeah,
right? And there's even still some debate: is he going to start or is Will Levis going to start? Right? Because they already had a starter. Uh, may not be their long-term franchise guy if they're drafting Cam Ward at number one, or if they're in a position to draft number one, right? And then
yeah,
the Giants took Jackson Dart at
yeah,
25,
yeah,
and then the Saints surprised everybody and took Tyler Show at 40.
yeah.
And then it was a while, and then Jalen Milrow went, and everybody I think the consensus was for everyone, hey, this guy's not starting. It's
Yeah,
going to take a year or two for this guy to develop as a quarterback, but he's an
I think by
amazing
the
athlete. He's
yeah,
an
I think
amazing athlete.
yeah,
He's a
exactly.
great runner, is what everybody said. And then Dylan Gabriel from Oregon, I really don't know about a lot about that guy. The Browns took him at
Yeah,
94, and so then Shador comes after that. Yeah, he's got to learn, right? And there's so much hype around him that came that I don't know that he actually earned. It made me think of Johnny Manziel
yeah.
and who else? There was
You
another
know,
one like that. And Manziel was all about this, right? I mean, that's all the guy did. It seemed like that's all the guy knew how to do, and
yeah,
but I'm not trying to say Shador is Manziel. I'm saying the hype is similar.
sure.
Seems like Shador knows, hey, I'm gonna have to put my nose in the book, and I'm gonna have to study film, and I'm gonna have to listen to Joe Flacco, and I'm gonna have to learn from Kenny Pickett, and I have to listen to my coaches, and I'm gonna have to be humble.
Sure.
But the hype was the thing that killed him, I think.
Yeah.
There was
You
so much hype, there was no substance to go with it. Whereas in Dion, he had the hype and the substance. You
yeah.
know,
One of the another aspect, and I will lead this into a second piece of the Sanders saga. Deion Sanders was his agent.
yeah, that was a big
And
problem.
and I think that was a part of the problem because, Dion, I will give Dion his props, man. One of my favorite all-time players, both, baseball and football, just amazing. I don't know how his business sense is I don't, he bought into that hype. He was driving some of that hype. I would be I think perhaps some of that carried over in his presence when he's negotiating or talking to teams. Because if you read about Shiloh, who nobody's talking about, who didn't get drafted, Shadur's younger brother, who didn't get drafted, got signed by the Buccaneers as a free agent. He dropped dad. He's like, Dad, I gotta go. Got an agent, got a contract.
Next
You
thing you
know,
know, the agent calls the GM and says, "Come on, give the kid a shot."
yeah,
Yeah, we saw
exactly.
that. Yeah,
Which is totally different than, go,
the
go, hype, hype. So
agent going to talk to a GM is different from the way a Dion's going to talk to a GM, right? Dion's going to assume he's going to get his way, whereas an agent's going to know how to do some smooth talking
yeah,
and
they'll
maybe
take my call.
a little bit of butt
I'm
kissing. I
fan.
don't think Dion's going to do that.
Yeah,
I agree with you. I think they hurt themselves by allowing Dion to act as their representation. You
yeah,
need that objective third party in
yeah. But we'll
there.
see where Dion lands. I think Dion's going to end up being a coach in the NFL. I think he's going to end up, jumping in there somewhere. I think that's his next move. But
Well,
I could be wrong.
that's where there was some of the other chit chat before the draft is where people were saying, well, do you draft Shador and then do you have a team owner that's getting anxious to start him? And if you do start him and he doesn't do well, or if you don't start him, does that coach lose his job and then they hire Dion to come in and coach his son? So who wants to draft Shador and then know you're probably going to lose your job to Dion in a year or two?
Yeah, there you go.
No,
Sure.
that's all just talk and conjecture. But to touch on the point you made that yeah, Dion, he's upwardly mobile, right? I mean, he got that job at Jackson State, made an impact. Immediately got offered the job at Colorado, took
Hmm.
Shiloh and Shador and Travis Hunter with him, and others, I think. And if he continues to do well in Colorado, even this year, I mean, yeah, who do you maybe offer a contract on? Because Kevin Stefanski for the Browns, I think he's a great coach. I think he's been hamstrung by the ownership that just forcing him to play Deshaun Watson. Deshaun Watson, and
Yeah.
to me, this is sad to say, all of his legal problems and his, dude, you're an NFL star. Why do you got to do that? Anyway, all of that problem aside, he was a great quarterback to watch when he was with the Texans. He was awesome. I just thought it was
Yeah.
phenomenal to watch. He was fun to watch. Since he's come back from that Achilles injury and that year off, he's it's not there anymore. It's just
Yeah.
he's not. Is he a backup? Yeah, maybe, but he's
Maybe.
not the starter he once was. And it's sad to say, but it seems like the Haslams are just forcing the issue. Hey, we're paying this guy $94 million. You got to start him. No, you really don't. If you want to win games. So if
Yeah.
they can, so this year, fortunately, this year for Stefanski, Watson's not going to be able to play. He re-injured his Achilles, so he's on the pup list or injured reserve, whatever. So it's going to be Flacco or Pickett as the starter, probably, right? But no, so you got two rookies and two starter, or two rookies, two veterans. You can only carry three on the roster.
Yeah.
Are they going to let one of the veterans go and keep
Yeah.
Dylan and
Yeah. Who's going to the practice squad, right? Where
well,
you run the risk of,
I think you trade them rather than try because you put them on the practice squad, you can't protect them
yeah.
because somebody can snatch them up. So you probably trade them somewhere before the season starts.
Yeah.
So you
You,
probably trade what Pickett
it's a
or
smart move. I think it's a smart move. I think you're going right down the road. You've got one too many, and there are a lot of teams that need a quarterback or a backup, and you've
yeah.
got two veterans on your squad that can start or back up, or
Yeah,
so
so it'll be interesting to see what this, the training camp and the preseason brings and
yeah.
how that shakes out. Because I don't think any of us expect Dylan or Sanders to start for the Browns this year, do we? I mean,
I
you
know.
never know. I mean, if one of them just goes lights out in the preseason like Russell Wilson did in 2012,
Yeah,
yeah.
maybe,
Go for it.
maybe.
Funny thing is, a little
But
symmetry here. Shador Sanders is going to wear number two. Well, he wore number two at Colorado.
oh,
So for the Browns, he wants to wear number two, and they're going to let him. Most recently, the Cleveland Bailey Zappi wore it last season, I believe. Amari Cooper wore it there, but it was also worn a decade ago by Johnny Manziel. So,
uh, maybe they trade him. You know,
numbers don't really mean anything.
maybe they trade him.
Trade
You know,
Shador?
yeah, trade him.
Oh,
Trade Shador to
hey,
somewhere needs like a third string quarterback. Like
that's
where
interesting, huh?
trade, because then you keep your, some fluid there.
Wow.
Start
I,
Flacco. You got Pickett as the backup. You still develop what's his name. You trade Shador to
the
the
Dolphins?
like the Dolphins or the well, no, it's a team. Well, yeah, I can see that. Maybe
Who are you going to say? Who are you going to
I was
say?
going to say the 49ers. You trade
49.
him to the 49ers
Depth
for
chart. See, Brock Purdy, Mac Jones, Curtis Rourke,
uh-huh,
Tanner Mordecai.
yeah, Mordecai.
Mordecai. Yeah.
But well, even them,
That's
they're going to.
interesting, but I
I don't know.
kind of think I just don't see the Haslams. I
Hey,
see the
clearly,
Haslams,
I have no
whether
idea.
of
Clearly, I have
course,
no idea. I have no
whether
idea.
they like him as a quarterback or not, they probably got to see him as a marketing tool at the very least.
Sure, sure. Sell a
So
couple of jerseys. Yeah, I hear you. Tell me
yeah,
what your take is on Pete Carroll and the Raiders. I
they
mean,
had a great draft too, didn't they?
came in with just so many things to work on,
I
man. I
mean,
mean, they had to fix their offense. They had some holes in defense.
where
Uh,
was it? I had a
I'm really impressed that they didn't draft a kicker or a punter. Because sometimes when you're desperate, you're like, God, let's get a kicker. You're up, get a kicker, dude. It's the first round. Slow down.
he doesn't need to do that. Yeah,
But
Ashton Gianti, like everybody thought, very smart move because the next guy up is Raheem Mostert, and
yeah,
then Sincere McCormick and Zamir White.
yep.
Neither of those two guys last season for the Raiders really they had
They
trouble finding him. The other guy was Alexander Madison, and they let him go.
let him go, yeah.
So I
But
mean, bringing in Mostert, he was the backup to the Dolphins. Why am I drawing a blank on the guy's name? He's a great running back. He was on your fantasy team
ATN,
last year. Huh?
ATN.
No, that was the Jaguars.
Oh, uh,
HN.
HN. Sorry,
On HN.
I was
Yeah.
halfway. I was halfway there.
Yeah. Great
I try
running
not to
back.
memorize all of those because
Oh
it
yeah.
clogs the brain. Yeah, yeah. I think they had a really, in my opinion, they had a really good. Their draft was amazing.
I
I
thought so
think
too.
I think they did just a fantastic job.
I think just in enthusiasm alone, I think they're going to do well. When I look at the divisions, I think the NFC North is still pretty tough. If the new Ben Johnson for the Bears can get Caleb Williams going, and their new, I think they got a new running back too, right?
Yeah.
That NFC North, I mean, Lions are still great. Vikings, if JJ McCarthy can play well, they're great. Bears, and then the Packers with
Hmm.
Jordan Love. I think that may still be the best division in football. And then you look at the AFC West, and you go, wow, you got Sean Payton with the Broncos, with Bo Nix. You
Hmm.
got the Chargers with Jim Harbaugh and his buddy Justin Herbert, who he's
Right.
grooming and he's doing well, right? And of course, Kansas City Chiefs with Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes, who had a down year and yet they still win the freaking Super Bowl. And then you got Pete with Geno
Yeah.
and that enthusiasm, and you go, wow, with the new playoffs. In fact,
Yeah.
last season, the NFC North had three teams in the playoffs, first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Everybody but the Bears. You look at that AFC West and you go, wow, could they have three teams in the playoffs? Sure
It'd be
could.
cool to see,
Could one of them be the Raiders?
I don't know.
That's
Yeah.
could be. I mean, if the Chargers stumble a little bit, if Bo Nix has a setback, why not? Yeah, I that's a tough division, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Who else?
We'll see. We'll see.
AFC North. It seems like the Ravens are going to run away with that unless the Bengals shore up their defense. Bengals had a great offense last season. They couldn't score quite enough to win. So it seems like the Bengals patched up their defense. Steelers, we still don't know who's going to be the quarterback. Is it going to be
Yeah,
Aaron?
we'll have to talk about that someday. Maybe at
Yeah,
another
not today.
podcast.
Yeah,
Chat about that.
we could get really deep into that one.
Yeah, or just sling mud because clearly we have no
It's
idea.
fun. I
I
like.
just think I think the Raiders are going to do much better than they did last year. I just have a feeling they're going to win more than 4 games.
Absolutely.
I think
I,
so.
I
I think
think.
they're going to be throwing 500 ball, maybe better.
I
I
was going
think,
to say. I think they're a plus 500 team. I
yeah,
think they're. You
yeah,
know,
I think so.
that's it. It's is it 9-8? Is it 10-7? I don't know, but I think yeah. I think they're
Yeah,
better than 500 ball.
yeah.
The other interesting draft subject was the phone numbers and the prank calls. And
Oh yeah. What's up with that?
I had time to think about that, and I thought, the Falcons got fined 250,000, and Albright got fined 100,000 because of his son Jax.
Yeah,
But other players came out and said, "Yeah, I got prank called too." They didn't make a fuss out of it, but
yeah.
and the Sanders, I don't know if Sanders made a fuss out of it either, other than
Probably it.
we knew it happened.
Probably
So
that
I got
PR
to
firm.
thinking, wait a minute. So how does this whole phone number thing work? Surely the NFL sends these phones to the players and then gives the number only to the team owner, the GM, and the head coach. And then from there within the team, they can hand it to whoever they might designate on the team, right?
Sure.
No, there's like 2,000 people that have that number within the team
Yeah.
organization. That's more than that. There are, I think it's 1,696 players in the NFL once all the rosters are set. There are fewer players in the NFL than people who had that phone number. And I
Yeah.
thought if the NFL is going to fine anybody, they should fine themselves. And
Yeah.
why did we fine the Falcons? Because other players got pranked too. They weren't all done by Jackson or Jax Albright or, that's what a dumb thing. What a
What
just
happens? That's what happens when you get butt hurt and you scream the loudest, right?
yeah. God, all
Yeah.
for a prank call. I think the NFL should rethink that one, and
Yeah.
I think they should hold up a big mirror. And if you're going to find the Falcons, go figure out who else is doing it and find them too.
Yeah.
Because
I'll
that's
write you a check now. I'll just
that's
come
just
clean. If I had his
plus
number, I'd have been texting him all kinds of crap.
top of it, 21-year-old kid. Yeah, kind of a dumb thing to do, but I mean, I saw the video and Shadur, he got off the phone and he was like, "What? I don't know what that was. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. I don't know what that was." So it's not like he fell for it, you know,
Yeah.
and then went around cheering and, getting everybody all excited. I think he just kind of went, wow, that was weird. It was dumb. I don't know what it was. Nah, I don't know. Was it all that big a deal? Um, but the other part of it I thought was if it's that easy to get a hold of information like that the NFL is handing out, you got to wonder what kind of information's lying around that people can use to go do some sports betting on.
I would
And because, yeah, I'm not a big fan of all the gambling opening up. I think it's just going to lead to, I don't think it's going to be like some big widespread thing, but I think it's going to lead to problems
yeah,
where,
I agree.
where people who are in a vulnerable position are going to start getting themselves in a bad situation
Yep,
and
getting in a worse situation. Yeah.
sharing too much information to get out of bad in situations. Yeah. So I don't know. That's my nickels worth of thoughts on that. But yeah, that's all I got on the draft. And
Yeah, it's a good time, man. I just excited to see what happens with well, in this off season, the remainder of the off season. We'll see what happens, right?
yeah, it's gonna be fun. I hope we get to see some training camp stuff, get to hear some of the hype, and I guess there's
Yeah.
plenty of teams out there right now that have four quarterbacks on the roster because they always seem to want to have like a camp arm. I think there are plenty of guys that go into training camp thinking, yeah, I'm just a guy to throw balls to people, because they need more people to throw to running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, all that. And I'll probably end up on the practice squad. But there are teams like the Browns where you got a full roster, and I don't think anybody's thinking, yeah, I'm going to end up on the practice squad. I think they're all thinking, hey, I'm here to get a roster spot.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that'll be interesting. And there are a couple of teams in that situation. Wherein, on the other hand, with the Steelers, they've got what Mason Rudolph, Skylar Thompson, and Will Howard that they drafted at number 185. So we'll see. Are they? Yeah, but like we said, the Aaron Rodgers talk that we'll save that for another slot. Try to keep this one. Hey, is
I
there
just
a
love Aaron Rodgers. I can't wait till he goes national with his podcast. So I will. I'll call in, you know. Hey, Aaron, long time listener, first time caller. Yep. Well, clearly we have no idea. Uh,
clearly
but
no idea?
what a wonderful draft, right? Good times.
I had
So
a
I
good
would
time.
I'm going to give my Raiders definitely a thumbs up.
Yeah.
I think they crushed it. I'm also going to give the Panthers a, because
Yeah.
I still don't get it. And then the Jaguars, like,
They did draft a beast of a wide receiver.
okay,
I
so
remember that. Remember that. So other than
second,
Brian
yeah,
Thompson Jr.,
huh?
Brian
Yeah,
Thompson.
it was, oh shit, I had it. I mean, shoot, sorry, Travis Hunter, Travis Hunter, the dual threat, the
Well,
guy that
that's
plays cornerback as well out of Colorado. Yeah, that
plus
kid's he's a great player.
some
Good,
of last
excellent
year.
pick.
Oh yeah, no
Great,
doubt about
great pickup, but he is not going to be the answer for Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he's one of them, but you still have so many holes. I was just surprised. I mean, I like, guys, what do you spend it? Somebody call Pete. He'll help you.
it. Yeah,
You
he'll
know,
help you out.
he
He'll show you.
he'll probably
Yeah.
tell you. He'll probably give you advice. He'll fax it to you. Here you go.
Yeah.
So,
They got Trevor Lawrence, Nick Mullins, John Wolford, former Ram, who
mhm.
did a good job stepping in. But yeah, Brian Thomas Jr. was the receiver I was thinking of. He was a rookie last season that turned into a phenom. Now you got Travis Hunter out there with him. Yeah, and Brenton Strange, their tight end. So Trevor Lawrence has some people to throw the ball to. I
Yeah,
thought they improved their running back situation, but it still shows Travis Etienne Jr. as the lead back there. And he had a down year this last year. Maybe that's a fluke. I don't know, but we'll see. They got a new coach.
yeah. We'll see.
Duval.
We'll see. We'll see what happens, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, we clearly have no idea.
Or
So
like
comment, subscribe.
like or hate.
Like,
Like I say,
hey,
at the end of
hey,
everything under these.
the fifth person to subscribe can win. I don't have any.
Let's see.
I don't have any toys present here. We're just going to win a prize to be disclosed at a future
Oh, there you go.
right? Right? There you go.
Something in the junk drawer.
Something in the junk drawer. I can't tell you what it is right now.
Yeah.
I don't want to spoil it. Yeah.
Special.
So,
Okay.
all right. Till next time, like and subscribe. Cheers.